what I can do, I can take this page template, boom, and it's in there and it's ready to customize about us. Hi, I'm Dan and welcome to this week's Elements Developer Diary. Now this week we're going to talk about templates, and this is a brand new feature. It's going to ship in a couple of weeks, but it's absolutely huge and it's going to be a game changer. Now this video is going to be broken down into 3 parts. So I'm going to record 3 distinct sections and go over each thing in detail because templates is such a huge feature that I think it needs to be broken down a little bit so you understand what you can do with it and how extensive and big this feature is. So to start with, we're going to look at project templates, and then we're going to look at pre-built templates that you can use, and then in the final part we'll look at building your own packs so that you can share those with other people. So let's get started with the project. Now I've got this simple project set up and I've got a menu header here, a banner, and a little section heading. And if we come down, I've got a content and a footer. Now, I've only got a home page here, and if I create another page, let's just call this contact. So now I've got these 2 pages, and what you would traditionally do and typically do in an Elements project, for your menu here, you're going to turn this into a global. And that means you can use it across multiple pages, as you know. So let's go to our contact page, and then we're going to drop in our menu. So that's great. Now for these other sections, we could do this. We could do the banner as a global as well, and the section here. But with templates, we can take these pre-built parts. They can become reusable. So they're different to globals because if I change something in this global, is going to change across the entire site. So let's get started so you can better understand what's going on. I'm going to take this banner and I'm going to drop it into the project templates area, and we're going to do the same with the section heading, and I could do the same here with content. We'll drop that in there and you can see these building up here, and I've got a footer, but I think I'm going to want that as a global. So I could convert that to a global there. So this is good. So let's go to the contact page, and we've got our global header there. And then what I can do, I can drop in this banner and my section heading and my 2 columns. And now I'm free to edit these. So this is the contact us page, which is great. And we'll go over here and we'll grab our footer. That was our global footer. So this is looking good. So very quickly, we've got our home page and our contact us page. And now, of course, I could go in, remove this image, and we can put in some more text there, and I can customize this how I like. And if we create another page, I can just drag these things in. So they're really handy to have these reusable elements. Let's have. We'll just call this page projects, just so we've got a few more pages to work with. Now, this is all great, but you can take this a step further, because actually what I want to happen on my pages here, this is great that this is reusable and customizable on each page, and I can change it completely, because these are all, once I drag these in the page, they're not linked to this anymore. So these really are just templates that you can just reuse and modify. But what I want this as a global. But one of the things people often hit with globals is that if I change a setting here, it changes across the project. And when I drag a new global in, I forget to hit the override. If you're familiar with globals, you'll know what I'm talking about. So with this section heading, what I'm going to do, I'm going to convert this to a global. Let me just remove this from our projects templates. So I've now converted this section heading into a template. And what you can do, you can put globals in your templates. But before I do that, what I want to do, I want to switch on these overrides. So now when I drag this into the project, these overrides will already be on. So this section heading, I'm going to put it in here. And we could rename this just so I know that it's a global. Let's put that in there. So there's my section heading. Oops, I don't need that. So there's my section heading. And let's come to our projects page, and I want my menu. Let's get our menu in there. And now I want our section heading in here. And you can see this is a global and it's got the overrides on it already. So I can just double click straight into here and say, what's this? This is the projects page. And by using, and that's a global there, let's just change this one as well. Put in a global here. And this is the contact us page. And by using a global and having these overrides on, it means I can easily customize the content. Let's just get in my projects, let's just get that banner in the top there to make them all the same. So this means if I change this section here, it's going to change across my entire site, but it will keep the custom content. So it's really powerful. Let's just change this to the brand color. So now you can see these are all changed together, but the content stays the same. This is really cool, and it just means, you know, I can drag in another one here for another section, and I can just customize this. Have another section there, and they all change together, and I don't have to worry about putting those overrides in. So this is a really powerful way to work. So this is showing you how you can create these little sections, these little reusable sections for use on your site. And I could put the menu in here as well, just so it's handy to have. And let's just create another page. And what I can do, we've got these in the right, let's get them in the right order. You can do multiple selections. So I can select all of these, drop them into my page, boom, and it set up my page for me just like that. But let's get rid of all of those. So what you could do, you can organize these into folders. So so this is my page template. Let's go back over here, and what I want my footer as well in there. So let's drop my footer in there. So now this, in my project, I've kind of got this page template. So whenever I create a new page, call this about us, what I can do, I can take this page template, boom, and it's in there and it's ready to customize about us. You know, so very quickly I've built up an entire site here really easily. So these templates are super flexible, and you can create as many as you want. I can just create more of these if I decide, you know, I need another different title or whatever. You just drag them in. It's as easy as that, and you can rename them in here, add multiple folders, get it all just how you need it. And yeah, it really speeds up the creation of websites. So that is using project templates in your own project. If I do a new project, you'll see it's empty there. That leads us on to the next part of looking at pre-built templates and some of the things we're going to ship in Elements. So I'll be back in a moment with part 2 to take this even further. Okay, welcome to part 2 of the video. Now we're going to look at pre-built templates. So I've got the project we worked on in part 1, and I've deleted the content from these pages, and I'm going to do the same on the home page. So we've kind of got a blank document here. I've obviously got all my old the page templates we set up before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into settings, and I'm going to enable our core pack, which is built into Elements. And what you'll see happen down here on the side, all these new sections pop in. Now these this is something we've put together, and it needs more development work and we need your feedback, but this is put together for this demo so you can see the kind of thing that we plan on shipping in Elements for you to use. So as a new user, when you open up Elements, you'll be able to use all these pre-built template sections. You can see it's under core because it's the core pack in Elements, just like all these components are in the core pack of Elements. We've got a range of options here, and first of all we need a menu. So I can go into here and we've got a sticky menu and a simple menu. Let's just drop on that. Boom, and our project has a menu. So this is very different from the components, because if I come down here and drop in a menu component, it's very blank, and that's intentional because all the core components are raw and unstyled and kind of ready to be molded and made to look how you want. But these templates are pre-built and designed, looking good, ready for you to drop in. So there could be hundreds of different styles of menus. So I've got my menu and I want some content as well, and I want a banner. So this is looking nice. I've got a banner there, and perhaps we need a section title. Boom, got that. And let's have a look. 2 columns. I drop that in, and maybe I need 2 columns the other way. Right, that's good. Oh, and there's a little call out thing here. I'll drop that in. That's looking good. I need a footer for my site. Great, we've got a footer down here, and let's drop that in. So now as a new user, or even a user who's been using Elements for a while, I've suddenly built up this page from all these pre-built components. And these are all styled to use all the theme settings. So if I come up to here into the theme studio, I can just change the look of this just by clicking on these, the style that I want. So these are all done really nicely. Of course, they've all been set up for dark mode. So I can click on this and it just works. And this is the same with all the themes. I can click through here and dark mode works on all of them. So this is a really, really quick way to build your site. So we could go and flesh out these other ones here. We've got a contact. What you'll want to do is obviously convert this into a global and then use that on your other pages so they all remain the same. But here we want the sticky menu, and then I can select multiple things from multiple packs as well. We want a footer, brand call out, and is this the contact page? Yep. So let's drop those in. And what else have we got? I'll drop this in here. But actually what I want is, because this is the contact page, we want a contact form. So let's just drop a contact form in here, and boom, probably don't need that. Boom, there's a contact form. So already we've built our home page and I've built a contact form. So this is like super quick to build up a page. You know, I go to here, the About Us page, I need a sticky menu, I want a banner, or maybe we'll put a banner with an image on it, and I want a section title, and I want a team layout. So I'll take these. Oh, and we need the footer as well. And maybe I want an FAQ on this page. So let's just drop this in. Boom, I've got my menu, I've got a nice header at the top, I've got a title here, maybe we don't need that. I've got a bit about Meet the Team, and then I've got an FAQ here. And of course, if I can just go and preview this in the browser, and it all works, it's all set up, ready to go. So this really is a really, really fast way to build websites and customize it, getting, you know, because these templates are here and we can really make this our own. But we've got a headshot, I can drop that in there. So this could be for our different people, just dropping these in, and it's as easy as that, you know, to customize our site. We can have a image at the top there. We'll give this a bit of a background overlay. That's looking good. Probably don't want that. There we are. So now this is looking more customized just by dropping in some images, and you'd obviously customize the content. We can change that theme there. We'll change it to architect. And this is looking pretty good already. You know, and it's so quick to build a website like this. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is just the start. We put this together for this demo to give you an idea of what we're going to ship in the app to make it easier for you guys to build up websites. And then, you know, because it's a lot easier than starting from a blank slate, having to drop in a container and then these headings and then working out how to put a flex in there and styling buttons. This gives you a really nice starting point. Because when I'm building sites, there's a lot of things I do. I often drop in a container and set the padding and things like that. And there's some of these basic things I don't want loads of styling in them, but I want some basic stuff. And that's every time, you know, I don't want to have to drop in this container and then say, okay, where's my spacing? Let's add a bit of spacing to here, which is something I do a lot. But now if I know I always do this, then I can drop this into my project there, and it's always there for me to use. So in the core pack, what I've been setting up and playing with is setting up some kind of scaffolding. Some basic things that I use a lot and I think you might find useful as well. So here I've got a container and it has that padding on it. And then I have these other items as well. So I've got a responsive grid here, which is useful to have. So I just drop that in, and this is set up with different responsive breakpoints on the columns there, so it gets less as I go down. And I've got some other things here, like I've set up some globals. Now here's a global, let's do a global card with image. So I drop that on. It's really, you know, it's not overly styled, and I can duplicate that. Let's duplicate this a bit more. Boom, boom. And it's not overly styled, but it is responsive there. So you can see that changing the amount. So this is really quick. So this is kind of really basic stuff I do all the time, but it's just, I know how to do this, and you don't want to have to set this up each time. So this is like a real time saver, and it's all set up to work with the theme studio. So you can see these cards just getting more curved here, or not, depending on which theme you pick. So let's pick this system one. Now on these cards again, I've set the override. So this is card 1, and you know, I can just click into here, card 2. And again, I've set these up with the broken image links. So on each of these globals, I can just drop in an image here, and it just works. So the nice thing about this, these bits are overridden. The content is overridden, and I can just edit it. But when I want to style these, because they're globals, and they only get added to my project once, so I can use this global card image again. Let's from here, it's the same global, and what I can do, I can just change these settings and it changes all of them. So let's add a little hover transform on here on the end. On the vertical we could go minus 10px. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, so now these all raise up. And I only had to do it on one because it's a global, which is really nice. And what we could do, let's change the effect so that we get a large shadow when we hover. There we go, this is really nice. And we could change, you know, I could come in here and I could change the style of it. Maybe we didn't want any curve on there, so I can switch that off. Come in here, change the background color. Whoops, let's change that to surface. There you go. If we wanted dark cards, I actually like the white, so we'll leave that. But you can see this is how super quick this is to work with. So another example in my scaffolding area here, I can do, let's put in a responsive grid again. And I've got a flex list, which I often find myself using. So let's drop because I need a list of items. Let's drop that in there. And then I've got a global item here. I can drop that in. And this is just a flex with an image and some text. But I often find myself using this, so I've set it up for use here. So yeah, so let's just duplicate this. And now I've got this nice list in here, and I can, again, I've done the overrides, so this is all ready to go. And you know, want to change the fill color on this, let's just change it to blue. Boom, and they all change. And of course it's already set up for dark mode. It just works. You know, this incredibly speeds up the time it takes to build a site. It's really good. You know, I've got a global card here. This is nothing more really than a flex, but it's just been styled nicely and it's ready to use. And I've got some text here, so I could drop in some text, and already I'm building up these nice cards. And we could drop in a global button there. Let me just fix the spacing on that. Boom. And it's, you know, I'm quickly building these things up rather than having to drop in a container and then come in here, say I'm going to set the background color, and now I'm going to set a drop shadow on it, set the borders on it, things like that, set the content layout, get things how I want. I know how to do this stuff, so I don't have to keep doing it. When I've got something I like, I can just drag it into the side here and reuse it. So it's really good. And the idea is to add a lot of these. I'm finding this scaffolding area really useful. This is just our first pass at including these items in Elements. So we need your feedback on this. What kind of content do you want to see? Is this, I know this is really useful, so I don't need to ask you, is this going to be useful? Because I know I know it is already. It is super, but we kind of want feedback on the way this is working and the things you would need for a site. So if there's anything that instantly comes to mind while you're watching this, thinking, oh, I want it to do this, or, you know, give us your feedback so we can really make sure this feature hits it out of the park. I was going to show you mixing. If I drop a banner in here, well, let's get rid of those so I can show you. I've got a flex center, which is often what I want to use, especially for buttons, if I want to line them up like that. So I've got that, and I can drop a button in there, and we'll drop one more in there. Oh, that's because I changed the align on that. Let me take that off. And then you can see those buttons align. I would need to, let's remove that. And it just centers the items. And it's like little handy things like this rather than me, because if I add a flex on and then go and add these global buttons, they're not how I want them. And I need to go to the flex box settings and set the row, and then I need to set the gap. Like this, and then I need to work out how to center them. There we go. So there's a lot of steps there when really I already know how to do that. It would be nice to have that available, and that's where these core template comes in, and where these little scaffolding helpers are useful. Because I can drop a container on here, and then I know I want a heading there, H1, or let's go for H2 actually, and then some subtext. Boom. And it's all set up to work on light and dark mode as well, which is another thing. I don't have to go and change the colors on this. It's already set up and it just works. So now I've just made a new section, and I didn't have to style anything, because if I do the same here, I drop this on and then I go and drop some text on it, you know, I've now got to come in here, set the sizes, set the heading, set the size I want it, do all this, get it centered. It's stuff I know how to do, and you shouldn't have to do it every time. And that really is where this comes in and makes it really easy, and that it's set up for the theme studio. You know, just, and as this collection of items grows and we get more themes and things like that, it just makes dropping these things into any site will make it look will make it look, it just works in that theme. It all matches, which is really important. That's good. And obviously, because this is a core pack, that was the last thing, because this is a core pack, if I do a new project, boom, there they are. I've got them available to use here because it's part of Elements, and I can go ahead and just start building up this, drop in some feature cards, there we go, drop in that, and an FAQ. You see how quickly this is to build up a site. And like I said before, we can just select multiple ones of these. So now I need a menu and a banner image, and in an image section, and I want some features, and I want that, and I'm going to want a contact us bit, and I want a footer as well. And let's have this as well. I've got a custom components here. Let's drop this in. So it's really quickly built this up. Let's rearrange that a little bit so it looks better. Boom. So I've got this whole page to work with, and it even works with custom components. So in these templates here, if you create some custom components and put them in your project or in a pack, they will be available to use. So now this little custom component that I've included here has been added to the project. Go and preview this, and it's a simple one. It just counts up. So yeah, you can see here, you can set the number, and because this is a custom component, you can come in here and you can edit it yourself if you want to get involved in that. You obviously don't have to, but it's there if you do want to modify it. So and these are kept in the template. So it's like, this is crazy powerful, and ever since we've implemented this, I've absolutely loved having this scaffolding. This is a new thing we've only implemented in the last week, and I've already come to absolutely love these because it speeds up building a brand new site. And we're going to ship these in the core of Elements, so these will be available, and I think this will be really important for new users when they come along. And you can obviously pick from a pre-built project, but even if you do this, then there's these sections available, because if I open this one, let's open, it's going to download that for me, download this project, and I think, yeah, I really like this, but what I need a contact form on one of my pages, and I can come in here and see, oh yeah, they've got a contact us, so I can just drop this in, and you'll notice it just fits into the site, and it uses the same fonts, and it's using the same blue color, and so it already looks like it works. So these are really handy if you're using a template. Let's put a responsive grid in there, and some of those global cards. It really makes it easy to open a project and just add stuff to it like this. It's really wild. So, all right, let me wrap that up because we've still got part 3 to go. Yeah, it's really good because in part 3, I'm going to show you about creating your own template packs that you can use in all your different projects. All right, so I'll be back in a moment with part 3. Cheers, bye. Welcome back to part 3 of the templates feature. So now we're going to look at building your own dev pack, and this means you can create a pack of templates and you can use it across all your projects. So they're not just confined to a single project like we saw in part 1 where it was tied to the project. These will be in an external pack and available in every new project you create. But more than that, and what's really important, is that you'll be able to create these packs and then you'll be able to share them on the marketplace. So if you're a designer and you want to put together a really gorgeous set of templates, you can do that, put them all together and then sell those as a pack. And this is one of the things when we set out to build Elements, we didn't want that distinction between a user and a developer. Everyone is a developer. There's this misconception that, oh, I'm not a developer, I'm just a user, I leave that stuff to other people. But with these dev packs, we're opening this up so that people can create their own things and share them with other users, whether that's for free or whether you're doing paid add-ons. It allows everyone to do it, and that's part of the reason why we have these custom components, is to allow an easy way in for people to start playing around with this stuff and getting involved. And it's the same with themes. You'll be able to create those in the app and share them. So we're doing a lot of things like that, and that's really important. And we think it's really important that there's no real distinction between users and developers. Because we're all the same. So with that in mind, let's go up to the settings, and in the settings we've got this add-ons area here, and in my version you can see I've got core, API and fast springs. Now the core and the API, these are things we actually encrypt and ship in Elements, but you can see them here because these are my dev packs. As a user you have access to this as well, so you can create pack, and the title is going to be let's just call this Design Collection, and we'll give it a name, and we want your name, so I'm going to put Acme Inc, and then your pack is the Design Collection. So this is going to create us a pack on disk. We can save this anywhere you like, so you can save this in your documents folder, so you want to keep this safe. It's like an external add-on. So let's create that. I'm just creating this on the desktop for the demo, and you can see it appears in this list, and we now have a new section over here called Design Collection, and you can see if I switch that off, it's gone. Boom, switch it on, there it is. Okay, so that's great. So I've set up my Design Collection, and this is going to be where I'm going to keep the templates I've made and that I want to use in my other projects, handy things that that I always want to use. So this banner, I like this banner and I want that available, so I'm just going to drop that into my Design Collection. And I got this section title, just going to drop that in there as well. That looks good. And this brand call out, actually we want this, I want this a nice deep color like that. Yeah, and we could change this, change that to code there. So I'm tweaking the design of this, and yeah, I want this brand call out in here as well. And as we showed before, or as I showed before, you can create folders to manage these things. So new folder from selection, and I could call this content. Do a new folder. I could call this my menus. We could drop that in there. So all these items that you create, you can just drag these in. Like this whole section here. We'll take this. I'll drag that in there. So now, if I do a new project, start with an empty project. You can see I've got my Design Collection, so my things are ready there to use. Drop that in. Great, and we'll drop in the banner I took as well, and we've got the team. I'll drop that in there, and you can see it also brings along the resources as well, and it just works. So this is now available from wherever, and I've obviously got the core pack here that I can also use as well if I want things from that. Just drop that in there, and this all works seamlessly together again with the themes. That's how easy it is to create your own pack. And what you'll be able to do is share this up to the store for other users. If you've designed something, put it together, and you think it will be useful, you can share it for free, or you can charge for it if it's an extensive pack, really well designed. This is going to be really important if you use Elements a lot and you build a lot of sites, especially if you're a freelancer, small studio, or a business. You can create these packs with all the things you regularly use in it, all the handy little bits that you find useful. When you've created something, you think you might want to use it later, you can do that and just drop it in here, and then that's your own pack, and you can manage it. It's really easy, and you can move things between packs. So if you've got some things in a project like this and you want to put them in the design pack, you can move that over. Boom, it's as easy as that. That is building your own dev pack, and I think it's going to be really popular and really handy, because I think I'm going to build my own one for my use for when I do demos and when I'm building sites, all the things that I like. and then I'll have them to hand. It's kind of what I've been doing with the scaffolding here. I've built things that I find useful, and I think other people will find useful as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about this whole templates feature. As I said, we're still working on it, and this is our first pass at it. We've been working on it for quite a while, as you know, and it kind of ballooned from that starting point where it was just templates in projects, and they were self-contained, a little bit like globals are, and they're not available anywhere else to use. And that's how templates were going to be. They were just going to be in there, and then as we started to use them, we realized we wanted to expand it out, and we wanted to include some in Elements, so some basic ones for you guys to use to get started with. And then it was like, well, yeah, of course other people are going to want to do this, so the feature has ballooned, and it's now so super powerful. As you can see here, I've got my project templates, and then I've got the ones built into Elements, the packs. So these would appear if you had bought packs off the store. They will appear in here as well, ready for you to use. And then you've got your own custom dev packs here, your own custom templates, design collections, which you can manage up here. You know, I can just switch that off, boom, and they're gone. So yeah, really, really powerful stuff. And this is, if you had a small design studio and you all wanted to share a custom pack with all these components in, you could do that. I hope you love this as much as we do. And it will be going out in the next couple of weeks. So you won't, next week is WWDC. We're going to be a bit busy that week with all the new announcements from Apple, checking on the new system, making sure Elements works, seeing what changes they announce and if there's anything we can take advantage of. Next week, probably not going to be a new build with this in, but it will be the following week, the week after, when we've implemented any of your feedback you've given us and added a bit more polish to this, really fleshed out this core set to include some more items. Good. I hope I covered everything. It's because templates is such a massive feature, and yeah, I hope you love it. So please give us feedback on the forum. Let us know what you think, and I will be back soon with another Dev Diary. All right, thanks for watching this. Cheers. Bye.